Hello, this is Max with A1WebsitePro.com, and this video is going to be all about search engine optimization, and in particular the Yoast WordPress plugin. If you have Yoast WordPress plugin, it's like the best search engine optimization help out there. But this is what it looks like. This guy is a genius. So if you have a WordPress, you need to install this Yoast WordPress plugin. That's how it's spelled, Y-O-A-S-T, WordPress. But we're going to help my good friend here, Jerry Cowell, optimize his website and learn how he can do it better. So we're going to take this article right here, Raw Greens for Health and Beauty, and we're going to take this whole thing and I'm going to make another post within his website and show him how to do this. And that's what we're going to do here. Let me go to post, add new, and I'm going to just paste all of his content that he has in there right now, and we'll give this a title, put the title up here, and we're going to go over this article piece by piece and see what we can do about optimizing this and what are some good practices, what are not good practices, and learn how to do it. Now, we have a special little challenge here. Most of his posts are all under 300 words. They're kind of like poems. And so we need to get at least 300 words in these posts in order to get optimum results in the search engine. So we're going to talk about that too. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so I kind of styled this a little bit better so it's easier to read and easier to work with. But first of all, let's take a look at this title, Raw Greens for Health and Beauty. Okay, now whenever we come down here, the title changed to Raw Foods for Health and Beauty. Whenever you're making an article, what you want to do is put the same keyword not only in the H1 tags, heading 1, but you want to have it throughout your article as well. So right away, you start out with raw greens and then you go to raw foods. It's probably not a good practice. So one of the things that you could take advantage of is there's something called the Google Keyword Tool. We'll go there, and you can find it at googlekeywordtool.com, or go to your AdWords and you'll see it load up here. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and sign in since I have an AdWords account. Now when you first sign in, this is what it's going to look like as far as the dashboard in Google AdWords. So you'd find this tool under Tools and Analysis, and you would go down to the Keyword Tool right here. And that's where we're at. So usually anybody that has a Gmail account can easily get an AdWords account and take advantage of this, so you don't have to keep filling out the CAPTCHA code. So what we want to determine is what's a better keyword for this post. We have raw greens or we have raw foods. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this raw greens, and it seems like it's pretty relevant to the content. I'm going to hit search, and right down here, I'm going to get the keyword IDs. I'm going to see what the competition is like, how many searches there is for it. So, raw greens, we have low competition. Worldwide, there's 5,400 searches a month, and in the United States, there's 4,400 searches a month. So that looks like a good keyword to use. The other keyword is raw foods, and we'll talk about this in a minute. Okay, now raw foods is medium competition, has global searches of 368,000, and for the United States 165,000. Now you may think, wow, it gets a lot more searches, but the competition's medium. It's easier to get it on low competition, and raw foods is a lot broader than raw greens. You'll notice in this post here we're talking a lot about raw greens. So this is raw greens is more of a direct keyword, and it narrows the search. So, and the competition is low, as you can see here. So it might not get as many searches, but the people that are looking for are looking for something that's more precise. So I would recommend using the raw greens. If we were going to target like maybe string beans or peas or something like that, we'd probably put raw green beans or something like that. But we're going to stick with that because we like the low competition. We like the searches that people are actually searching for that, and so we want to be indexed for raw greens in the search engines. So that's what we're going to do as far as that goes. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to come down here to raw foods, and instead of raw foods we're going to change that to raw greens as well. So that way we have relevant content. So now we'll have raw greens in the title. We'll also have raw greens in the URL string here. So we'll keep that, and then we'll have raw greens in a heading title. So we can see now how this is starting to structure. We're zoning in on the keyword raw greens. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and keep scrolling down here. So now we'll have eat the basic greens, nothing exotic here, spice it up as you like. Fear not the hot peppers and other delights, like horseradish and garlic. So we see here that whenever we start into the content, we have, since this is a poem and it's following a certain structure, we might want to write in such a way where we can include this raw greens into the content here somewhere. So I'm going to brainstorm and see how I can maybe include raw greens into the content, just so we can have a little bit more authority with this keyword, because that's what we're talking about, raw greens. Okay, so what I decided to do here is, instead of eat the basic greens, I put our keyword, once again, raw greens, in there. And then you can read the rest of the poem. But it would be good to have it throughout the content. So, but the issue here is this is a poem, so it follows a certain structure, and what we don't want to do is take away from the poem and the artistic nature of it. So, and as you could tell, the words here, the content, are under 300 words. And that's 300 words is a minimum for search engine optimization. So what we can do, so that we don't take away from the poem itself and the beauty of it, is we can go to our search engine, go to Google, and maybe Google search, and then type in raw greens and see what we could come up with here. See if there's anybody else out there talking about raw greens that we can refer to, or take a little snippet of their article and add it to our poem, and then maybe give them a link, somebody that is talking about raw greens. So I'm going to scroll down through here and see what I could find as far as people on this first page that are talking about raw greens, and see what kind of good content we can add to our article, and possibly give somebody else a link that is talking about our subject. Okay, now as I scroll down through this first page of Google, I'm looking for relevant content that's going to match our article or our poem at healthyoldgoat.com. And I like this Mark's Daily Hope, because there's a little part down here, tips for preparing raw greens. And so I'm going to grab this little portion of the content. I'm going to copy this content. Now I'm not copying the whole article. I'm just copying a piece of it, something that's relevant. And then I'm going to give Mark's Daily Hope a link back as the reference to the article. So we're going to go over to our post, and at the bottom here, we're going to paste in that article. And we have him there's a link down here, but we're going to change that link around. I'm going to discuss why in a minute. So where it says tips for preparing greens, we're going to go tips for preparing raw greens. And so we get our keyword in there once again. And so we're going to go ahead and talk about this a little bit. He says in the article, if you're preparing to heat the greens, we're going to put our keyword in here once again, raw greens. Let me take my caps off. Raw greens. Don't worry about overbuying what looks like a huge bunch of wilts down into a mere 1 or 2 servings when cooked. And then he says thoroughly wash greens by immersing them. Now we could leave that like that, or we could put our keyword in there again, but we're going to leave it like that so we don't start sounding a little bit funny in our article, because it flows smoothly. Thoroughly wash greens by immersing them into a sink or a bowl of water. If you're pre-washing your, now see, I could put raw greens before refrigeration. Make sure they dry completely before you refrigerate them. Store loosely packed into a Ziploc bag or a sealed container with a paper cloth. And it sounds like I'm getting some messages, so I'll be right back with you. Now there might be a couple other places here that we could use our keyword. And when buying, let's say raw greens right there, like kale and mustard, smaller leaves mean a milder flavor and more tender texture. Keep in mind that greens with thicker leaves and stems like kale, mustard, greens, chard. So what I'm trying to zone in on here is our keyword. Now the last thing we want to do is we want to give Mark's Daily Hope a link. So we're just going to take this URL that we have here, and we're going to click copy. And under this post, we're going to click read more, and we'll do this at Mark's Daily Hope, and then maybe put something like references. Okay, so highlight that, link it to his article. Now if we're going to link our keywords, we want to link them back to our website. You may say, well, why don't we link raw greens to Mark's Daily Hope? Well, the problem with that is we're trying to rank now for raw greens. So we don't want to take our keywords and link them to his site. But maybe we have something in our own website that we can link them to. So we could do that. That would be a good way to do it. The other thing is we have other keywords throughout this article that we can use, and we can link to other websites, and that's a good practice. Maybe like mustard greens. Maybe somebody doesn't know what mustard greens are. So let's go to the Google search engine and type in mustard greens and hit enter. And we see that we have Wikipedia come up here. On the first one, it's talking about mustard greens. Let me see if I could find a good resource for our readers to go and talk about mustard greens. Okay, so I kind of like this Wikipedia and referencing it a lot of times. They got a lot of good relevant information. This Brassica junica is, this article is about the plant, and then you could go to, for other uses, seed mustard. But we're going to go ahead and link to this article, give Wikipedia a little link there, and for mustard greens. And so that's always a good thing to do, a good practice to keep in mind. It helps educate your readers and has relevant content to your article. So that's important. Maybe you want to take raw greens and link it to another section of your website. I know that Jerry has some things on his website. One thing's called Super Salad. So, I mean, that would kind of fit in. So we're going to go here to his search engine. I'm going to type in raw greens just like that, just to see what comes up. So we can link to other sections of the wheat. So he has another article here, Why Eat the Greens? And we see it has a section of our keyword called greens. So we're going to go ahead and grab that. And we're going to go ahead, Why Eat the Greens? And we're going to link that, and we're going to see what that does whenever we test it in the Yoast plugin. So I'm going to go over here. Oh, also I want you to notice that we inserted images, but when we inserted the image, in fact, let me delete this. I'll reinsert it again. What we want to do when we click Add Media, okay, so make sure our cursor's there, blinking right there where we want our picture. We're going to click Add Media, and we're going to grab these green beans. And notice that the keyword is raw green beans. You don't want the image title, like if the image was, if the title of the image was this, image underscore 0654. In fact, a lot of people, whenever they upload their files they do that. But one of the things that you would like to get in a practice of doing is uploading the keyword as the file name of the picture. So there should be kind of like rawgreens.jpg. So if it's like this in the title, you want to make sure that you change that. Make it be something like raw green brains, and then give it an alternate text as well. Raw green beans in a bowl. Kind of describe the picture. So, and we'll go ahead and click that insert into post, and we'll get our search engine optimization. The other thing is also in your featured image, you want to have your keyword throughout the picture there, as well as title and alternate tags. Also, you can take advantage of WordPress tagging, and when you see here we put raw greens as a tag in there, and so that's kind of that's a good practice to get into as well. So let's go down here, WordPress SEO by Yoast, and our focus keyword, of course, is raw greens. Okay. Now the idea here is we want a green SEO check. We want that to be green for us. We're not going to publish to Facebook just yet. And the SEO title, we're going to have it generate an SEO title, raw greens for health and beauty. And right now this is what it's going to look like in the search engine. So whenever it comes up in Google, it's going to say raw greens for health and beauty, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so maybe we don't want it to read that. Maybe we want it to read something different. Maybe we want it to read like poems, poem about raw greens for health and beauty. Okay, kind of describes what the website's about a little bit. And we see here that we went over 12 characters. So let's take a couple words out here. We have the 3 periods letting people know that there's more on there. And you notice that our meta description changed there a little bit. Okay. Now we see that the category, it's under nutrition. That's a good practice. And so we're going to click Save Draft, and we're going to see what WordPress SEO by Yoast has to say. It says the keyword doesn't appear in the first paragraph of the copy. Make sure the topic is clear immediately. So if we scroll up here, we see that it is in the first paragraph. Eat the raw greens. So there might be a little bit of issue with the Yoast plugin. The images on this page do not have alt tags containing your keyword phrase. Now let's go ahead and check and make sure that we do have the image. Raw, okay, now see, raw green in a bowl. So we want to put the S. Sometimes that's important. S could make a big difference. The copy scores 58 in a flesh reading ease test, which is considered fairly difficult to read. And because this is a poem, we might have an issue with that. So we're looking at more of the artistic of words, so we're not going to worry about that. Now, we got a lot of other greens there, and so I'm going to click Save Draft once again. And we see we got a nice green light there for our SEO. The idea is that we have our keyword in the article heading, the page title, the URL, and the content, and the meta description. So we want to make sure that we're in there. And for the content, you want it in there more than once. We see we have it in there 4 times, which is good. So let's go back to the page analysis. And so now it's registering that we have the keyword in our, in the first part. We have it in our H1 head. We have it in our heading. We have it in our content. We have it in our title. So we have it throughout our article several times. We have a great outgoing link to Wikipedia, and also we have one, I believe, going to Benjamin Franklin, so people can get on there and easily click and read about these other things. Basically, we're trying to make it easier for our user to find relevant content within our article. So this would be a great way to go ahead and click publish. We can publish it to Facebook and propagate the internet with our new search engine optimized article. So that's basically what it is in a nutshell. You can get more details by visiting the plugin here. Yoast has some books for sale. I notice on the updated version, looks like this might be an older one, but you could go and read more from Yoast. He's very good at search engine optimization and has a lot of good helpful points and suggestions. So this is my tutorial for Yoast WordPress plugin and search engine optimization. And if you don't have WordPress, or you can also take these practices and that we've outlined within this tutorial and put it in your own website, whether you're using other content management systems or if you're just designing websites from raw HTML code. Okay, this is Max with A1 Website Pro. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope it was informative for you. Please feel free and don't hesitate to contact me with any questions, comments, or concerns.